Hello lamb lovers, welcome to my kitchen. Today we're doing roast leg of lamb, Greek style, over potatoes, and then we're going to take the leftover lamb and make a lamb curry with toppings. This was the holiday, Easter, Christmas meal of choice for my family growing up. This is part of the runway for the Lamb Stand, which is an employee canteen and neighborhood cafe at a wool fashion venture called Wearwool New London. We're celebrating everything about the sheep. Farmers, to make a decent living, need to be dual purpose. They need to sell lamb and they need to sell wool. So we're going to honor both of those. Let's get started. This is all the ingredients for roast leg of lamb laid out. Potatoes could be white potatoes. These are yellow potatoes, whatever you like. I'm going to peel them, quarter them, put them in the bottom of this pan. I've put aluminum foil in the pan to make it easy to clean up. What makes something a Greek roast leg of lamb versus some other kind are these four things: lemon, garlic, oregano, and Greek olive oil. Now you can add other things. I'm going to add some rosemary and thyme. I'm going to coat the potatoes in that, just right in the pan. Salt and pepper them, squeeze some lemon on top, put some minced garlic on top, sprinkle some of the herbs on top, toss it with my hands. That's the base. Then I'll put this 8-pound leg of lamb on top. There's two ways you can cook roast lamb. You can do it hot and fast or low and slow. We're doing hot and fast because I want those potatoes to be nice and crispy. Probably an hour and a half to get to medium rare, which is 145. You want to take it out at 135 because it'll rise as it rests. Critical to have an instant read thermometer, one of the best investments you can make, because I'm really keen on it being medium rare and not above that. I'll probably test it at an hour just to make sure it doesn't go too long. So let's get cooking. I'm going to do a few more potatoes just so I have potatoes across the bottom of the pan that serve as a platform for the lamb. This recipe uses a lot of garlic. I'm going to use almost 2 heads of garlic in this recipe. So I'm going to season this with some salt and fresh ground black pepper, sea salt, could be kosher salt, and a lot of olive oil, 1/2 cup to 1/3 of a cup between the potatoes and the lamb, and then lemon. I'm going to squeeze this over the potatoes, and then once I toss the potatoes, I'm going to put the squeezed lemons in the pan with them. Now, get some herbs in there. So I'm just pulling the leaves off the stem. Same thing for the rosemary. Don't need to chop it. That's the thyme. Now, the smell of these herbs is just great. Then you just mix it up, get it nicely coated. And then, like I said, you can just throw these lemons in the pan with the potatoes. That's going to add some flavor. Okay, then we're going to put the lamb on top of that. But I got to work on the lamb a little bit first. So I'm going to prep this lamb right in the roasting pan. So first I'm just going to slather it with olive oil. Both sides. And in cooking, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty, right? Hands are really efficient tools. So I'm going to season it on both sides with fresh ground pepper and salt. Now, here's the fun part. I'm going to make slits in this fat side, and I'm going to force slices of garlic and some of the herbs into those slots. So rather than mincing the garlic, here I'm going to make slices. Then I'm going to push down into those holes I cut in the fat. And this is going to get the garlic flavor deep into the meat. And what I like to do is take some of the herbs, particularly the rosemary, which is a little sturdier, and force that into the same slot. Sticks out a little bit, that's fine. Kind of cool looking actually. Put a little bit of the thyme in too. Even some of the oregano could go in. Okay, so that's pretty good. And I got the rest of these herbs, I'm just gonna scatter them on top of the potatoes. And then a little bit of lemon juice over the lamb. Throw that in the pan too. And we're ready to go into the oven. So I've taken the lamb off the potatoes and put it on a cutting board where it will rest for 10 minutes or so under foil while I plate the potatoes and make the gravy. So I'm making a gravy with the fat that's left in the pan after taking out the potatoes. About 2 tablespoons of fat, so I'm adding an equal amount of flour, 2 tablespoons of flour, essentially making a roux, and then adding water at the ratio of 2 cups of water per 2 cups each of fat and flour, and then cooking that over heat, stirring it, getting the raw flour taste out of it. Then checking for the seasoning and adding salt and pepper. So that's a simple gravy. So I'm carving the leg of lamb, and the way I do it is to look at the lamb and find the shallower side where there's less meat and cut a slice sort of parallel with the bone. And that's just to create a flat surface so you can turn it onto that surface and cut the meat slices on the side, which has the most meat. And the way you do that is to cut it perpendicular to the bone in a series of slices. And then once you've sliced those, go parallel to the bone, right on the bone, and slice across, and all those slices will just fall away from the leg. And then I'll plate those slices on a serving platter. This is the lamb and the potatoes as plated at the table. I quartered an onion and added it to the lamb bones and then covered those with water and boiling it at a rapid boil, reduce it down. That'll create a quick stock that I can use to thin the lamb curry tomorrow and to add some flavor. Okay, it's the next day and we're going to make a lamb curry with toppings from the leftovers. This is some of the leftover lamb, and this is the leftover lamb gravy. And when my mother did this growing up, that's all she used. She used some generic curry powder that was actually better than what she used, and that was it. And then she used these 6 toppings. So crumbled bacon, hard-boiled egg, coconut, sweetened coconut. I toasted it a little better, and raisins, and then peanuts, scallions. So that was the original thing. And then my siblings over time have kept adding things. I can't keep up with all of it, but they have green apples, they have chutney. This is really Californian. Jalapenos, sunflower seeds, and I added some chopped apricots. I'm going to do more of a real curry. I'm going to saute some onions and butter, and then I'm going to add some garlic and ginger that I blitzed in the food processor, and then I'll saute that for a while. Then I'll take that and put it in the food processor and blitz it with these tomatoes. Then I'll put that back in the pan and then add the gravy and the lamb. If it's a little too thick, I'm going to use the lamb stock to thin it. When I sauteed the onions, before I add in the ginger and garlic, I'm going to bloom some spices, cook them right on the bottom of the pan, push the onions to the side. So a little cumin, a little coriander, a little garam masala, which is a mix. So basically making my own curry powder, just a little bit more flavorful. And then we'll put the toppings on. So that's the mise en place, and now we go on to making the curry. Okay, I melted some butter in this pan. I'm going to saute some onions. Once they're softened, 8 minutes maybe, I'll add the minced garlic and ginger. It's a whole head of garlic and 3 inches of ginger, so I'm not going to use all of it, maybe half of it. And I'll cook that for a minute or so, and then I'm going to add some spices, a teaspoon of coriander, a teaspoon of cumin, and a teaspoon of garam masala. I'm going to push the onions and garlic and ginger to the side, so I have the pan bottom on which I can just kind of toast these spices. This is called blooming the spices, and it really brings out the flavor if you do it this way. And I'm going to mix it in with the onion and ginger and garlic. And then we're going to go over to the food processor and blitz it with these 4 tomatoes. Added the gravy, now I'm going to add the lamb. So this is really too thick, so as planned, I'm going to add some of this lamb stock. Because this is going to simmer for a while and it's going to cook down. Some of the liquid I just added will reduce down. I mean, the lamb's already cooked, so it just needs to get heated through, but I want all those different flavors to blend. And I'll probably let that simmer for, I don't know, half hour. While that's going on, I'll make the rice. How to make Puerto Rican rice. A really important thing to know how to do. So the proportions are 3 cups of water to 2 cups of rice. I didn't want to make that much rice, so 1.5 cups of water to 1 cup of rice. You rinse the rice under cold water until it runs clear. By the way, what you use is a medium grain rice, not a short grain like a Borio, not a long grain like most American rice, a medium grain rice. You bring the water to boil over high heat, and this will seem crazy, but you use a lot of oil. I use olive oil, you could use butter or lard. So 2 tablespoons, it would be 4 tablespoons if you were starting with 3 cups of water, but 1 teaspoon of salt. Again, if you were using the 3 to 2, it would be 2 teaspoons of salt. Okay, I brought this to a high boil, and now I'm going to add the rice. Just stir it a little, mix it up, and then bring the heat down to medium. And then that's going to cook until the water is all the way down through the rice, and you see little holes coming up. That'll take a little while. So the water's now cooked down, you can see little holes, can't see the water. Then you just fluff it really quickly, just once with a fork, like that. Cover it, and turn it down to the lowest heat you got. So time it for 10 minutes. We'll turn it one more time, and then we'll go another 10 minutes, and it'll be done. Now, while the rice was cooking just a minute or two ago, I added like a half a cup of yogurt to the curry. Kind of makes it a little richer, thickens it a bit, and it's coming along quite nicely. It's going to be great. Remember how thin it was when I added that water, but that's reduced down, so it's going to end up just right. So the rice is just about ready. I'm going to take the curry out of the pan. There we go. Rice is ready. Here's the curry. All right, ready to go to the table. Okay, anybody up for a lamb sundae, a lamb curry sundae? Get some of this awesomely good Puerto Rican rice as the base. Put some of the lamb curry over it. Look at how that is. Perfect, beautiful. Those lamb pieces are super tender. I know because I tasted it, seasoned it, which you want to do. Now, okay, now for the toppings. There's a little bit of coconut, a little bit of hard-boiled egg. The hard-boiled egg and bacon just seems so 1960s LA. I expecting the Jetsons to show up. Peanuts, raisins, apricots. I snuck those in there. Not on the original menu. Scallions, jalapeno. My crazy cousins and nieces added that. And sunflower seeds. Anybody up for hacky sack after? And green apple. And a little bit of chutney. I think this is some kind of English chutney. So look at that. Awesome.